to leave so soon, Dami replied. We'll slip through the boundary before they even notice. As the parents gathered in the village square, torches lighting the night, Dami and Mako slipped into the shadows, heading toward the path that led out of the village. Their hearts pounded with fear, each step echoing like thunder in their ears. But unknown to them, the villagers were smarter than they thought. Baba Ajani, sensing Dami might flee, had already sent a message to the village guards to block the boundary. As Dami and Mako approached the edge of the village, they saw the familiar sight of the boundary marker, a large wooden gate. Relief washed over them. We're almost out, Dami whispered, but just as they reached the gate, a sharp voice called out, Stop there! Dami and Mako froze. From the shadows, the village guards emerged, their spears glinting in the moonlight. Looking for something? One of them asked, his tone cold and commanding. Mako tried to talk his way out. We're just going for a walk, he stammered. The god laughed. A walk in the middle of the night with bags on your back? He shook his head. You're not going anywhere. Before they could run, the gods grabbed them, tying their hands with thick ropes. You thought you could escape justice, the leader of the gods said, his voice cutting through the night like a blade. News of their capture spread through the village like wildfire. By the time Dami and Mako were dragged back to the square, the entire community was waiting, their faces filled with anger and betrayal. Baba Ajani stepped forward, his voice booming. You thought you could harm our daughters and run away? You will face justice here in front of everyone. The crowd roared in agreement, their torches blazing like the fury in their hearts. Dami and Mako, once so confident in their deceit, now stood trembling, knowing that their punishment would be swift and severe. The village square was packed with people, their faces grim, and their hearts heavy with betrayal. Torches flickered in the night, casting long shadows over the crowd. At the center, Dami and Mako knelt, their hands tied behind their backs. They were surrounded by the village elders, whose expressions were as unyielding as stone. Baba Ajani stepped forward, his voice cutting through the murmurs of the crowd. You, Dami, came to our village as a teacher, entrusted with the future of our daughters, and you, Mako, betrayed your people by aiding him. Tonight, you will face the consequences of your actions. The crowd roared in agreement, their anger like a rising tide. Two men stepped forward, each carrying a long whip made of leather. Without hesitation, the punishment began. The whips cracked through the air, landing on Dami's back with a sound that made the crowd flinch. He cried out, his voice breaking with each lash, but no one looked away. Mako's turn came next. His screams echoed through the square as the lashes rained down. The punishment continued until both men were slumped over, their faces pressed into the dirt. When the flogging ended, Baba Ajani raised his hand to silence the crowd. This is not the end of your punishment, he said. Dami, you will remain in this village. You will care for every girl you have wronged and the children they will bear. You will provide for them and answer to their families until your last breath. The crowd cheered, but Baba Ajani wasn't done. He turned to Mako. You, Mako, will serve this village as a laborer. You will work in the fields, on the roads, and wherever else we see fit, and you will never again come near the young girls of Ayanfe. With those words, the two men were dragged away, their fate sealed. The villagers watched in silence, knowing that justice had been served. In the days that followed, the village began to heal. The girls, though scarred by their experiences, found comfort in their families. Mothers held their daughters close, whispering words of love and assurance. fathers vowed to protect them, their anger turning into determination to ensure this would never happen again. The elders too took action. They introduced strict measures to safeguard the young girls, ensuring that no stranger could gain their trust so easily again. Teachers would be carefully chosen, and no man would ever be left alone with the girls. Dami, now a shadow of the man he once was, worked tirelessly to fulfill his punishment. Every day, he visited the families of the girls, bringing food, money, and support. His face carried the weight of shame, and his name became a warning to others. Mako too worked under the blazing sun, his back bent as he toiled in the fields. The villagers watched him closely, ensuring he stayed far from the young girls he had once betrayed. Over time, the girls began to find strength. With their family's support, some returned to school, determined to rebuild their futures. Their laughter, though faint at first, slowly returned to the village, like sunlight breaking through a storm. The story of Dami and Mako became a tale told around fires and in moonlit gatherings. It served as a reminder of the dangers of blind trust and the strength of a united community. Ayamfi village, though scarred, stood stronger than ever, its people bound by a shared lesson and a promise to protect their own. And so, life went on, but the memory of those dark days lingered, a shadow that reminded everyone of the price of betrayal and the power of justice. I hope you enjoyed the story. If so, please like the video, comment what you learned from the tale, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more enchanting tales just like this one. Thank you.